Oh, you know exactly what time it is. I've been waiting a while to talk about this game in a video review, and now I finally get the chance to do so. Somebody is clearly getting their ass kicked in this video review. It might be you, hell, it might actually be you. But without any further delays, let's talk about Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers on the Nintendo Switch. Oh, I'm really gonna enjoy this one indeed.
Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers is the latest version of Street Fighter 2 to get re-released. It's still the same game that many have been playing in arcades and other platforms for years, but it's still being seen as the definitive version of Capcom's classic arcade fighter. In addition to all the classic fighters, stages, and music that you get, Ultra Street Fighter 2 adds a few more new things to distinguish itself on the Nintendo Switch from Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, which was originally released on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. You have two new fighters that are the new palette swaps for Ryu and Ken, but with a more twisted and evil take that is a strong nod to the original Street Fighter 2 animated movie released back then.
Now, I really love the visual style that was once done by Udon for HD Remix that's brought into this game. I think it works really well, I think it looks good, it looks fresh, it really invigorates a game that we've been playing for almost 20-something plus years. And I think that works really well, especially for people that may have never really dived into Street Fighter 2 before. You get a whole new visual style to play around with. The other thing I think is pretty cool is that some of the previous sprite work and, the icons and the portraits are redone in that old style type of aesthetic, but they still have a fresh coat of paint to them. They're not really using the Udon style portraits that they had in HD Remix.
The visuals are the real treat here, which blend the sprite work from Udon and Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix with the old style from Hyper Street Fighter 2 Turbo included in previous anniversary collections. However, the music is completely remixed and is different, which is a damn shame. The tracks from HD Remix that were done by the OC Remix team were great and would have worked very well in this collection. However, I'm curious as to know why more music options weren't offered and included that soundtrack instead of just the new and the old versions of the tracks that we got here. Street Fighter 2 Turbo has so many official releases of the soundtrack that could have worked well if they were included as extra options for the music. Licensing might have been a big factor in all of this, but it still sucks that all that great music from previous iterations of the game is completely lost to the tides of time.
But besides that, I also want to talk about something else in this game, and that's the extras.
The extra features here are somewhat meager. Aside from the extra characters and the revamped artwork and sprites, you get a color edit mode that changes your fighter's looks, a co-op dramatic fights mode where you can team up against the boss characters of the game, and a bonus artwork gallery that features artwork from an out-of-print Street Fighter art book in Japan. But I feel like more should have been done by Capcom for Street Fighter 2. There's no character or story descriptions or sprite sheets, there's no extra challenges like in Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter 5. Why wasn't more done to celebrate the legacy of Street Fighter 2? It's a game that's been re-released and reimagined so many times, more so than any other Capcom game, that it feels like a lot of wasted potential.
I really feel like there should have been much more extra stuff to unlock and kind of look at besides the art book, because I feel like this should be a celebration of everything that is Street Fighter 2. We've had so many versions of this game that's come out over the years, and I feel like it's not only the game that really ushered in the fighting game genre, but also really brought to light the fighting game scene, the competitive gaming scene, and a whole bunch of other stuff that's associated with all of that. It just feels like a half-assed job by Capcom just to kind of push this out on the Nintendo Switch. More time should have been taken to kind of give us more extras, really fine-tune a lot of stuff, and really bring in some of the better elements from modern-day Street Fighter games or previous versions of collections of Street Fighter 2 into Ultra Street Fighter 2 for everybody on the Switch. I feel like if that would have been done, we would have gotten a much more better package overall, and a lot of people wouldn't have dropped off this game so quickly. Now, if you notice, there's one thing that I'm not talking about here in this review, and that's Way of the Hado. To really summarize what Way of the Hado mode is in essence, is basically an FPS mode where you're just playing as Ryu and you're fighting different soldiers that are attacking you constantly. At the very end, you get to fight Bison in one or different types of forms, depending on the difficulty that you're playing as, but it just doesn't work that well, and it's a complete non-issue to the rest of the package. Overall, it just stands out like a sore thumb, and it just doesn't really match up to the rest of the stuff that's going on with Ultra Street Fighter 2. On top of that, it's using the Street Fighter 4 engine, which, again, just feels very out of place compared to everything else. If I really had a choice of what to add onto there, besides Way of the Hado, I would have rather taken more extra modes. I would have taken online lobbies and a round robin, or just some of the similar lobbies that we find in Street Fighter 5 and other Street Fighter games, rather than this garbage mode. It's complete ass and something that a lot of people probably will not play, and if you do end up playing it, it's probably just out of curiosity, and then you're going to realize how bad it really is. To be totally honest, whose idea was it to actually include this in the game? I mean, it could have been Seth Killing. We could always blame him. But you know what? We're going to blame someone random. We're going to blame Justin Wong for this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to call this man up right now. Give me a second. Watch this. I'm going to call this man right now on this right here. Hey, Justin, we're blaming you for Way of the Hado and Ultra Street Fighter 2. You're going to have to take the blame for this. What do you mean it's not your fault? You're the one who's supposed to be a world champion in Street Fighter, right? You could have influenced this. You could have used your power and influence to change things up for us. What do you mean it's my fault? Man, yeah. That guy's such a pain in the ass, right? Anyway, back to the review.
For any Street Fighter game, it always comes down to the multiplayer. However, the multiplayer of Ultra Street Fighter 2 isn't all that great compared to more modern-day Street Fighter games released on other consoles. The biggest problem isn't the shaky connections that you have during fights online, but the lack of key features that make the online experience any good. You don't have any custom lobbies for multiple players in like an arcade round-robin style, nor do you have an abundance of options for matchmaking online, which is a real big disappointment. It feels like things were hastily put together just to get it out on Switch, then worry about everything else later on. It sucks that some of the better online features from games like Street Fighter V weren't considered for this game, which is arguably Capcom's most popular and famous release in the series.
Now, in multiplayer, this could be a real hit or miss for a lot of people, including myself. Even when I was playing this game for this video review, I had a lot of problems connecting to some of the players that were playing the game online. There isn't a lot of people that are playing this right now compared to people that are playing something like Street Fighter V or any other modern-day fighting game, but also just the connections that you kind of run into from even people here in the United States or in your local area, they're just not as great compared to other games that are out on the market right now. This could be a symptom of people just dropping off from the game, or just, again, the different connections and the quality of the internet that you might actually have, but there's way too many factors to really boil it down to one specific issue. The thing is that if you're really going to be playing this game for multiplayer or just competitive anyway, going online is really not the best way to do so, especially if you're trying to enter different competitions for Street Fighter games or just fighting games in general. For me, Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers feels like a lot of wasted potential. It could have been something much more special and much more kind of, celebrated rather than the way that it turned out on the Nintendo Switch. It's pretty cool to get another iteration of Street Fighter, even though we've been playing the same game for many years, and all the new content and some of the new characters are welcome, but some of the other design choices and the extra stuff that's kind of included into here or kind of tacked on just feels very out of place and kind of wasted instead of just giving us something that really celebrates the franchise as a whole. Now, don't get me wrong, we're getting the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection very, very soon at the time I'm filming this video review, and I feel like that's going to be a much more better celebration of everything that is Street Fighter. But it would have been awesome to see this definitive quote-unquote version of Street Fighter 2 be handled in a much better light, especially on a brand new console that a lot of people were very excited about, especially if they wanted to see more Capcom games or more Street Fighter games released on the Nintendo Switch. Either way, though, I still play Street Fighter 2 from time to time. You'll probably see me online playing online matches, whether it's ranked or player matches, just to kind of waste a little bit of time or just get away from work here and there. So if you're ever on your Nintendo Switch and you just, feel like playing some Street Fighter, you can probably just search on there and probably find me just beating up some heads. Don't get me wrong, though, you're getting your ass whipped if you're playing against me. I'm just putting it out there. I might not be the greatest, I might not be Justin Wong, Way of the Hado kind of skills, but I will whoop that ass when needed. But anyway, guys, that's just my thoughts on Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers on the Nintendo Switch. I wish it could have been a lot better. As a fan of the franchise, again, it should have just been handled much better by Capcom, and it could have been something a lot more cooler that a lot of people would have played extensively at EVO and other fighting game competitions. Let me know what's up in the comment section below. Tell me your guys' favorite Street Fighter game or your favorite Street Fighter characters, or even some of your favorite Street Fighter moves for that matter. I know there's a lot of special moves in Street Fighter as a franchise, and some of you guys, besides the dragon punches and all this other stuff, you probably have some other favorites that you guys want to mention and want to give some shine. Besides that as well, don't forget guys, I'm on Patreon. I'm constantly putting different videos and exclusives over on my Patreon page. If you guys can, support me, check out the link down below, support my Patreon page, support my content, and I'll be able to do much more grander, cooler stuff for everybody here on the YouTube channel. And also, let me give a special shout out to Jasmine Russell, who is supporting me at Patreon at the Beast tier level. Again, you're getting shout outs for the entire month on every single video. You're getting your name in the credits. Everybody that does so at the Beast tier level or higher, you'll be able to get the same type of love, as well as all the previous rewards and all the previous perks and other cool things that you guys get by supporting me on Patreon. And with that being said though guys, that's all I got for you. Again, spread word about the channel. I appreciate all the support. Leave a like on this video, comment down below if you guys can, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I know I keep saying that, but recommend to a friend. Any and all support that you guys can give me is really appreciative. Again, I want to do bigger and better things here on the channel for all of you guys out there. I will talk to all of you again very soon. Peace out, stay epic everybody.
Thanks a ton everybody for watching this video review. I really appreciate all the support. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave a like on this video, and comment down below if you can. And don't forget to check out all my other stuff, including my review of Doom 2016 and a bunch of the other game reviews that I posted up here on the channel. And don't forget also, I'm on Patreon. If you guys can, show me some love on Patreon, where I have a bunch of exclusive content for everybody that supports me on there. With that being said, I will talk to you guys again very soon. Peace out, and stay epic, everybody.